Sign right here, and a guy comes over and wants me out of the way. You know why? Because he was wearing a blue windbreaker with American flags and stuff all over it. That's patriotism in America. Just NASCAR and bomb the Arabs and, you know, we're tough, we're number one. And I come over and point out this is happening, and he's not going to put up with it. Well, I'm going to continue to file reports from the road, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all.
Great video there by Alex. I really appreciate how he's pointing out what real patriotism means. You know, this gets back to the New York Times article that we mentioned earlier, which calls Alex an extremist. You know, look, real patriotism is saying, let's get back to the Constitution. Let's restore the Bill of Rights. Let's restore the Constitution. He is a restorationist. That's exactly how he describes himself, not as an extremist. You know, gee, I guess it's extreme to point these things out now in the common mainstream media. It's just incredible. But also, you know, another quick note. Sorry, guys, about on the graphics. I'm leaping around a little bit, but on the water story, I just had to add this in. I had a reader comment to me that they were offended by my coverage of that story because I was talking about how idiotic these EU bureaucrats were in Brussels. And they said, well, I'm a European and I'm offended by your story. Well, astonishingly, they weren't offended by the fact that the EU is run by morons. Wouldn't that be more offensive than the fact that we're reporting on it? And it's not an attack on EU citizens, because if you're in the EU and you're watching this show, you know what's going on. You know that your government is corrupt. You know it's a bunch of criminals. It's a bunch of banksters. It's a bunch of crooks. It's a bunch of scientific morons that are running the system. So you agree with us pointing this out. But every once in a while, some of these people say, well, I'm offended. How dare you point out that these 21 scientists are complete morons because they don't know what water is useful for. Maybe it's because in my story I said that even mosquitoes know to go to water, and thus these scientists are less than mosquito-brained. I guess that was offensive to some people. Anyway, moving on to the next story. We have a situation in Georgia involving water, but it's not funny. It's more about torture. Yeah, a senior citizen, a woman who was 89 years old, living in a nursing home, a caregiver facility of some sort. She got into an argument about ice cream. And who wouldn't? You know, it's delicious. And in order to resolve the argument, two staff members at this nursing facility held her down in the shower and subjected her to waterboarding torture techniques. Oh yeah, waterboarding is now happening in nursing homes. Now these two did get arrested. We don't know what the status of that is, but there's a really important phenomenon that I want to describe here, and I'm going to call it trickle-down tyranny. All right? Trickle-down tyranny is because these people in the nursing homes, they are mimicking the tyranny that they see at the federal level. They are mimicking the tyranny that they feel at the airports when the TSA is reaching down their pants, when they see the cops spraying the students with pepper spray and getting away with it. And it's like some of these people out there, some of these workers, they want to feel empowered and emboldened with their own little form of tyranny. So they latch on to it. And the tyranny trickles down, and especially with waterboarding, where it's actually trickling down your throat as they're trying to force you to speak up and, I don't know, admit you took the ice cream sandwich or whatever they were going after this woman for. It's ridiculous that this is going on in America. It's just another sad, really pathetic commentary on the lack of compassion and humanitarian recognition of basic human rights in America today. So I don't mean to make fun of that story. It's actually very, very sad that they would subject a woman to that. But there is comedy to be found in this broadcast tonight, and let's get right to that with She's a Brick. Okay, here's the story. A woman was seeking to have her rear end enhanced, we'll just say, a little extra curvature in there. She sought out a doctor who turned out to be a fake doctor who agreed to inject her buttocks with a number of interesting substances, one of those being Fix-A-Flat tire inflator. Right here. Yeah, she was putting this right in her buttocks there with some cement and mineral oil. So I don't know what to say, folks. If you're letting yourself be injected with this stuff, you know, there's something wrong with you. And if there's a person out there calling themselves a doctor who is injecting you with it, there's something wrong with them, too. It's kind of like the intersection of a couple of lunatics. Here's a story from the Associated Press. A woman who wanted to work at a nightclub started searching for someone who could perform plastic surgery at a cheap price to give her a curvier body. Police say what she found was a woman posing as a doctor who filled her buttocks with cement, mineral oil, and flat tire sealant. Yeah. Hey there, woman. Is that just your womanly curves there, or you got fix-a-flat in your butt? Yeah, I knew it. It's the fix-a-flat in your butt, isn't it? Yeah, you got a firm butt now with that cement in there, girl. That's sad. That's actually very, very sad that people would even imagine doing some of that. We will demonstrate this, but check it out. Check out the label. Just connect, inflate, and go. But it doesn't say to the club. It doesn't say go to the club. It says for passenger cars, sedans, sports cars, and trailers. It doesn't say for your trunk. Okay, that's not on the bottle. This is for your truck, people, not your trunk, which, of course, means rear end, for those of you who may not be up on the latest lingo. All right. It's sad. It's sad what people are doing to their bodies these days and not even knowing it. And speaking of that, we've got more news about BPA-free plastics. This is another thing that people are doing to their bodies without knowing it. Well, I guess in the case of the fix-a-flat woman, she should have had a clue when she heard that inflation sound. What is that? Why does my butt feel bigger? You know you can find that in the cosmetic surgery section of your local Ace Hardware store, by the way. Moving on to BPA-free plastics. Okay, some of the plastics that are BPA-free still have other chemicals in them. And a BPA-free label doesn't mean a product is harmless, reports Discovery News. In fact, they're saying a new study says when scientists conducted lab tests on more than 20 top brand baby bottles, along with more than 450 plastic food and beverage packages, virtually all leached chemicals that acted like the hormone estrogen, even though many were free of BPA. I have been afraid of this happening for a very long time. I've been watching this BPA situation very closely over at Natural News, reporting on it, covering it, and I've seen this huge influx of BPA-free products. But what are they really made of? It's still some kind of plastic. It's still some kind of chemical. This story confirms what I've been really concerned about, and we're going to have to investigate this more, cover it more here at Infowars as well as Natural News for sure. In fact, I'm going to be hosting Infowars, the Alex Jones Show, on Wednesday. Maybe we'll cover it then, get into more details on that. You know, look, there are chemicals all around us, folks. If you really want to be healthy, eat and grow as much of your own food as you can. Buy food at your local organic farmers markets and in food co-ops. Don't microwave your food in plastic containers because the plastics leach right into your food. Even if it's not BPA, it's probably something else that doesn't belong in your body, just like Fix-a-Flat. Doesn't belong in there, folks. All right. The future of organic food is at risk. This is a serious story we've now got coming up. In fact, the USDA is about to make a new decision. It's going to have a meeting next week. This is an urgent situation. They're going to be evaluating, with the help of a bunch of scientists who probably have financial ties to the big agri-giants and food giants. They're going to be making a decision on whether they can allow new ingredients to be considered organic, even though they're synthetic chemicals. And Mark Castell from the Cornucopia Institute says, quote, "We think this meeting may well decide the fate of organic food and agriculture in this country." In fact, there's so much going on now with the aggregation of food companies. More and more smaller companies are being bought up by the big food giants and the big seed giants. So you've got these companies like Hershey's and Cargill and Dean Foods and Heinz, PepsiCo, that are owning all the brands that you thought were little mom and pop brands. And with more on that, we're talking with Mark Castell, the director of the Cornucopia Institute, who joins us by phone. Mark, what do you make of all this? What does it mean for the future of organics?
Well, I think this is the line in the sand that we all have to draw, Mike. Who owns the organic label? We do. The farmers in this country that have worked hard to establish an